Long before the rise of mighty empires like Egypt, Greece, or Rome, there were civilizations that thrived in silence and mystery. They built temples, cities, and traditions that laid the foundations of humanity's future. Yet, their stories remain scattered in ruins, fragments, and unanswered questions. Who were these early people, and how did they achieve such wonders with so little? Tonight, we will uncover the mysteries of emergent civilizations, the lost beginnings of humanity, the first sparks of civilization. Humanity's earliest civilizations did not appear overnight, but grew from simple bands of hunter-gatherers. These groups learned to tame fire, cultivate crops, and build permanent homes, creating the first stable societies. The decision to settle changed everything it meant: cooperation, planning, and the birth of culture. Life was no longer just about survival, but about growth and belonging. This was the spark that ignited civilization. But the question remains, why did only certain regions flourish into great centers of life, while others stayed tribal? Scholars often point to geography, rivers, and fertile soil as the key. Yet, this does not explain why some communities created monumental architecture while others did not. The mystery is not just about resources, but about human imagination. Something deeper pushed people to dream beyond mere existence. The leap from surviving to thriving marks a turning point in our story. It is here that myths, rituals, and inventions first took shape. These first sparks of civilization set the stage for humanity's greatest experiments in society. And while we can trace their ruins, we cannot fully grasp their motivations. Still, the echoes of their beginnings whisper to us across time. Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest temple. In southern Turkey stands Göbekli Tepe, a site that has rewritten history itself. Built over 11,000 years ago, it predates Stonehenge by millennia and challenges everything we know about early people. Massive stone pillars, carved with animals and symbols, were arranged in perfect circles. This was not the work of simple hunters, it was the work of visionaries. But why did they build it? Some researchers argue that Göbekli Tepe was the birthplace of organized religion. Here, humans may have gathered to worship long before they learned to farm. If true, it means faith, not food, was the glue that bound societies together. The carvings seem to tell stories of gods, beasts, and powers beyond human control. The site feels less like a settlement and more like a sacred gathering. Yet the biggest mystery is its purpose. Was it a temple, a social hub, or something entirely unknown? Even stranger, it was deliberately buried by its own builders thousands of years later. Why hide such a marvel? Göbekli Tepe challenges the idea that civilization grew slowly. Instead, it shows that humans were capable of extraordinary organization long before we thought possible. Çatalhöyük, a city without streets, not far from Göbekli Tepe, another marvel arose. Çatalhöyük, around 7000 BCE, thousands of people lived here in one of the world's first cities. But, unlike later cities, Çatalhöyük had no streets. Houses were built together in clusters, entered through rooftops, creating a honeycomb of human life. This was a city built for closeness, not separation. Inside their homes, people painted walls with vivid murals of animals and daily life. Shrines and symbols adorned living spaces, suggesting spirituality was part of everyday existence. Unlike Mesopotamia or Egypt, there were no kings, no palaces, no monumental temples. Yet, Çatalhöyük thrived for centuries, sustained by cooperation and community. It is one of history's greatest experiments in equality. But why did it vanish? Climate changes, disease, or conflict may have ended its story. What remains is a puzzle of human innovation. Çatalhöyük teaches us that civilizations can take many forms, not just hierarchies and empires, but networks of shared responsibility. Its ruins reveal not just survival, but creativity, balance, and resilience in the earliest days of urban life. Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates, became the stage where civilization truly bloomed. Here, people created writing, law, and the first great cities. Uruk, one of its jewels, was surrounded by walls and temples that symbolized order and power. Kings and priests ruled with authority, shaping a society where religion and politics were inseparable. Civilization here was structured and ambitious. Yet Mesopotamia's origins remain mysterious. How did simple farming villages transform so rapidly into complex city-states? Was it trade, warfare, or belief that pushed them forward? The invention of cuneiform writing changed history forever, giving humans the ability to record laws, prayers, and stories. With writing, memory became eternal, and civilization took a giant step forward. Among their stories was the Epic of Gilgamesh, the first great tale of human longing and mortality. This epic revealed not just history, but human emotion, showing that ancient people wondered about the same questions we do today. Mesopotamia may be the cradle of civilization, but it is also the cradle of human thought. Its mysteries shaped the world. Egypt, the kingdom of eternal stone. While Mesopotamia built with clay, Egypt built with stone, ensuring its monuments endured. Along the Nile, kings became gods, and gods became kings. The pyramids rose as eternal symbols of power, mystery, and death. But behind the grandeur lies the question: how did ancient Egyptians achieve such feats with limited tools? The pyramids themselves remain one of history's greatest enigmas. How did they move stones weighing tons across miles of desert? Some theories suggest ramps, others advanced knowledge of engineering. Yet the precision of their design still amazes scholars. Were they tombs, cosmic markers, or something more? Their exact purpose is debated even today. Beyond monuments, Egypt's civilization thrived on order and continuity. For thousands of years, its society barely changed, resisting collapse longer than most empires. What was the secret of their longevity? Perhaps it was faith, binding people to cosmic order. Egypt remains a symbol of mystery and endurance. The Indus Valley civilization, the silent cities. Deep in South Asia, the Indus Valley civilization created cities unlike any other. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa boasted advanced drainage systems, straight streets, and organized planning. Yet, strangely, no palaces or temples dominate their ruins. These cities were built for people, not rulers. This civilization seemed to value equality over hierarchy. Even more mysterious is their script, which remains undeciphered. Without understanding their writing, we cannot know their laws, religion, or leaders. Their society appears organized, peaceful, and advanced. Unlike Mesopotamia and Egypt, we find little evidence of war or conquest. The Indus people seemed more concerned with living than with ruling. But, like others, their story ended in silence. Around 1900 BCE, Their cities declined and were abandoned. Was it climate change, shifting rivers, or disease that ended them? We may never know. The Indus Valley remains one of history's greatest unsolved riddles, an advanced world hidden behind undeciphered symbols. The Minoans, masters of the sea. On the island of Crete, the Minoans flourished with palaces like Naissus, decorated in vibrant frescoes of dolphins and dancers. They were masters of trade, sailing across the Mediterranean, spreading culture and wealth. Their civilization was one of beauty, art, and connection with the sea. But their end remains one of history's mysteries. Some believe a massive volcanic eruption on nearby Thera destroyed their power. Others suggest invaders, like the Mycenaeans, conquered them. Yet traces of their artistry and seafaring legacy endured, shaping Greek civilization to come. Their myths, including the labyrinth and the Minotaur, still echo today. The Minoans remind us that civilization is not only built on stone and war, but also on trade, creativity, and harmony with nature. They thrived by connecting worlds across the sea. Their disappearance leaves us with questions about fragility, how even advanced societies can vanish in the blink of an eye. The Olmecs, the mother culture of Mesoamerica. In the jungles of Mexico, the Olmecs carved colossal stone heads that still stand today, known as the mother culture of Mesoamerica. They influenced later civilizations like the Maya and Aztec, yet we know so little about them. No clear texts, only artifacts of power, art, and ritual. Who were these mysterious people? The Olmecs seemed obsessed with kingship, fertility, and the jaguar as a spiritual symbol. They built ceremonial centers, practiced ritual games, and developed early calendars. Some scholars believe they may have even discovered writing before their successors. Their achievements ripple through centuries of Mesoamerican culture, but their decline remains unexplained. Did warfare, environment, or internal strife bring them down? The Olmecs vanished, leaving only giant stone faces to watch over the jungle. Their silence invites us to imagine a world where myth and reality blurred together. The Shang Dynasty, bronze and blood in ancient China. The Shang Dynasty rose as a kingdom of bronze, war, and ritual. They crafted intricate bronze vessels and weapons, symbols of their power and artistry. Oracle bones reveal their kings, consulting ancestors and gods, blending politics and spirituality. Yet the Shang remained shrouded in mystery. Their society was hierarchical, ruled by kings and warriors. Human sacrifice played a role in their rituals, suggesting a world where the living constantly sought favor from the spirits. Their cities, though not as grand as Mesopotamia, were centers of innovation and fear. The Shang brought both brilliance and brutality. Why did their dynasty fall? Perhaps rebellion, invasion, or the weight of its own blood rituals. The Shang reveal how power and belief can shape societies, how fear can bind civilizations together. Their bronze legacy remains one of China's earliest mysteries. The Mycenaeans, warriors of legend in Greece. The Mycenaeans built citadels, crafted weapons, and inspired legends like the Trojan War. They were a warrior culture, obsessed with honor, strength, and conquest. Their palaces at Mycenae and Tiryns reflect power and fortification, a society built for war. The stories of Homer's Iliad may preserve echoes of their world. Whether Troy was real or not, the Mycenaeans shaped Greek identity through myth. Their linear B script reveals administrative order, but also a society strained by resource demands and conflict. Around 1200 BCE, they collapsed in the great wave of Bronze Age decline. The reasons remain: mysterious natural disaster, invasion, or internal collapse. From their ashes, however, Greek culture would one day rise again. The Mycenaeans remain both history and legends. The Norte Chico, America's first civilization. Long before the Inca, another civilization thrived in Perutha Norte Chico. Around 3000 BCE, they built massive platform mounds and irrigation systems without pottery or writing. Their society was unique, relying on cotton, fishing, and collective labor. They proved that civilizations could rise without armies or kings. The Norte Chico reveal that cooperation can rival conquest in building societies. Their monumental architecture stands as proof of their organization and vision. Yet so much remains unknown. What were their beliefs? How did they govern without war? By 1800 BCE, their power faded, replaced by other cultures. But their achievements shaped the foundations of Andean civilization. The Norte Chico remind us that even without writing, their story was carved into the land itself. Why civilizations collapse throughout history? Civilizations have risen to greatness only to collapse into ruins. The reasons are many: climate change, invasion, disease, or social unrest. Yet each collapse carries mystery. Why did strong societies suddenly fall apart? Were they victims of fate or of their own ambitions? The Indus Valley may have collapsed as rivers shifted. The Mycenaeans fell during the mysterious Sea Peoples invasions. The Maya endured cycles of rise and fall due to drought and conflict. Collapse is not just destruction, it is transformation. New societies always rose from the ashes of the old. What connects these stories is fragility. Civilizations are powerful, but also vulnerable. They depend on balance between nature, people, and belief. When that balance breaks, collapse becomes inevitable. The ruins remind us how delicate greatness truly is. Lessons from the ancients. The mysteries of emergent civilizations teach us that humanity is endlessly creative. From Göbekli Tepe's sacred stones to the Indus Valley's silent streets, each culture wrote its chapter in the human story. They remind us that civilization is not one path, but many, each shaped by imagination and environment. We may never solve every mystery: why some built pyramids, why others vanished, why belief often came before reason. But in these questions lies the beauty of history. The unknown fuels our curiosity, keeping the past alive in our search for truth. These civilizations may have fallen, but their spirit endures. Their ruins are not just stones, but messages they tell us. Humanity has always reached for greatness, even when the world was still young, and we are their descendants, carrying forward their unfinished story. As we leave behind the ruins of these lost worlds, we carry with us the echoes of their dreams. Civilizations may rise and fall, but their mysteries endure, calling us to seek, to learn, and to wonder. Perhaps one day, new discoveries will reveal the answers we long for. Until then, the past remains both a question and a mirror of our own future. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of emergent civilizations, remember to like, share, and subscribe, because history is not just about the past, it's about understanding who we are today.